excellent connection, so we'll see. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Casey Oswald, and I don't know. I'm excited to be here today. I was so worried about the internet since this morning. I had trouble, but looks like we have a good connection. How are you guys all doing? Good?
Good.
Can you introduce yourselves really quick? Let's see. In the top corner, I have Amanda Panda.
Hello, Amanda Panda teacher. I'm a 5th contract teacher with VIPKid. I'm a Pacific Coast time teacher, so a busy waking up early. This morning I was awake at 3:15, and I go to sleep early to make my life balanced. I'm a crafter for Amanda Panda teacher on Etsy. I ship all over the country, Guam and Canada, and a YouTuber, a blogger, everywhere. Happy to be here in a really fun shirt today.
Yes, I like it.
Yes, I love that. Very nice.
The rainbow shirt for the rainbow background.
There you go.
It says, be kind, be kind.
Oh, love it. Cindy Bennett, you're next.
Okay. My name is Cindy Bennett, and I am also my 5th contract, right? I just signed my 5th, so it will start June 1st, actually. And I got the raise, so that's really exciting for me, because I have lived all these years and never really, I got a raise the last time and I got a raise this time, and it's very exciting. And I also have a group on Facebook for iPad users for VIPKid. Some people use them for just as a backup. Some people like to use them for teaching exclusively, and so we just help people with tech issues with just the iPad. So there's almost 3,000 people in that group, so it's really fun.
Yes, it's a huge group. It's awesome. Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary Maple, and I'm from Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. I just signed my 6th contract with VIPKid, and I'm also just starting with OutSchool, so I'm really excited about that. And let's see, I'm not sure what else to say, so just really happy to be here and be part of this. Thank you.
Glad you're here. Hey, Kelly.
Hello.
Super excited you're
Kelly.
here.
Oh, good. Good. I do pride myself on ending classes at 25 exactly. So yes, I'm Kelly. I have a YouTube channel called Teacher Kelly Tag. Every Tuesday after classes, I read the weekly report and sometimes have another topic too. I also live in Virginia, Mary.
Oh, neat.
I'm in Northern Virginia, yes. And just to let you know, I'm expecting an important phone call, so I may have to turn off my camera and mute my mic for a minute if I get that. So, yes.
I understand. And Melissa is here. Oh, here she is. Yay.
Oh, hello.
You're muted still, though.
Hello.
Yay.
Hi, so I'm Melissa. I am on my 6th contract with VIPKid, and I also do the online coaching with VIPKid. I have a Facebook page, VIPKid Friends, and a podcast, Mornings with Melissa. So I'd love to see you at either of those places.
Have you mentioned your podcast on here? Did I miss that last time?
Yeah, I don't think I did. I'm not really good at self-promotion. This is what I'm learning. But it's VIPKid Mornings with Melissa. It's on Apple and Google and Spotify and all that.
I've just started listening to podcasts. It's a new thing for me. I haven't really done them until
really do podcasts, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. I'm so excited to have you all here for a topic that I am terrible at. So I am ready to take advice from all of you veteran teachers. Friends in the chat, if you have questions for me or for anyone on the panel, please try to put it in all caps so that I don't miss it. If I miss it, just go ahead and put it again at the bottom. And I'll keep checking the chat as we go. So anyone want to start off this topic? I've been trying to think of, I don't know, this topic blows my mind because I have gone past 30 minutes before.
30, yeah.
Cindy, please help me out.
So I know I'm not the expert, but I just wanted to start out by saying when you first start, in the company, it is hard to get everything in within 25 minutes. And when I first started, of course, that was 2 years ago. We had a little bit more leeway where, you know, I at first I thought I was going to get like an email or something was going to happen to me really bad if I went over. But then I realized way back then you could almost go as long as you wanted. But, you know, it's in order for the teachers to make sure it's fair for everyone, you know, so that the parents aren't expecting more time. It is proper to stop as close to 25 as you can, but if you go a little over, it's not like the end of the world. And I'm over 3,000 classes now. And there was one time in that many classes that one of the grandmothers said, after 25, they're like, oh, she has 2 more minutes. And I was like, no, you pay for 25. So you know that some teachers routinely go over.
Right.
So sometimes they get to where they expect it, but it's really they pay for 25. So it's really out of respect for one another that we try to keep it to 25 as best as we can. Is my opinion anyway. So
yeah.
Kelly?
Yeah. Okay. So I do want to piggyback off what Cindy said. So if you're new, it is really, really hard. So yes, I acknowledge that. And when I was new, I was not good at, you know, ending at 25. I went way over. Usually when you're new, you don't have any other classes afterwards. And yes, if it's my last class of the day, or I know I don't have a booking after, then I'm less strict about it. I end at 25 for me more than for them, because I need that 5-minute break if I've got like 10 classes in a row or something. Yeah. So anyways, I just want to say, if you are new, don't feel too guilty. But if you ever go over 28, write something in the feedback letting them know that it is not a normal thing. Like I have a smart sentence saved on Feedback Panda already, like something like, I was able to go over time today because I didn't have a class after, but I may not always be able to do that. And other teachers might not be able to do that too. That way they know it's not a normal thing and they stop expecting it. So, yeah.
Good. I think usually my going over has been like their internet or something, you know, something caused it. And then I feel like I don't want to rush too much. And so, yeah.
And I'll piggyback on that as well. It's not just respecting the other teachers, but it's respecting the students and parents, because often these children will have another activity right after or homework that they need to get to. So if we're taking them beyond the set time for class, they may be running late for their bedtime routine or their homework or another online class or whatever their routine might hold. So
right.
You know, I'm equally guilty of going past time when I have plenty of time to do that with. But I have also learned, you know, to really work within the time frame that we need to, so that it is respectful all around.
Yeah.
Good.
I just wanted to say, like right now, it's, you know, they don't have as many things to do. So if people are new and they just started, it is different when school is in session and their time is a lot more limited than it has been.
Right. Amanda?
If you are teaching, well, not right now, but when students go back to school, you might be teaching like our evening time classes, but they're midday classes. So a lot of students will come home for their lunch and they've got an hour and 40 minutes or a 2-hour break. So I have to be careful when I'm teaching those classes in the evening to be really careful of their time, because they've got to get out the door to get back to school. So just consider like whatever time of the day you're teaching, the situation may be different with your students. In general, your pacing will improve. You'll get better with timing as you're more practiced, as you're experienced teaching the lessons. You're going to get so much better. You'll know where to go slow, where to go fast, like to really improve. It's a real practice thing. It's about your practice time before you can get really good. I was not great my first months or many months to finish classes on time, to really get them done. And to be truthful, some of those higher level classes are hard for me. me. There is so much content, and if
Yeah.
they're a struggling reader, or if
Yes.
they really need comprehension help, like defining words, showing examples, or I just have a conversation with them that's longer, it's really hard to keep to that time. So just know that as you practice and more experienced, it will get better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. My 30 minutes was when I first started.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
right.
and then I'm like looking at my watch, like Cindy said, and I'm like, I went over. What's gonna happen? So we need some tips and tricks for everybody that's here listening. We have 16 here listening. Let us know in the chat. Are you pretty good with your pacing, or are you a struggler like me? So anyone want to start with maybe some tips or tricks that you might have?
Well, keep in mind that some of the kids will end at 25 minutes. Like, even if you think I can go a little over, there are those kids that like at 25, they click the button and you're done. So keep that in mind too. Not everybody's going to linger even for 30 seconds.
Right.
So
I did have one that after he got his 5th star, whether it was at 23 minutes or 26 minutes, he was out. So the first time I gave him his 5th star at 23 minutes and he left me, I'm like, oh, I had to write in my notes, like 5th star at 25 minutes.
yeah.
Gotta go. I was going to add too, so for people and timing, you must finish the slides, whether it's in 25 minutes or 28 minutes or however long it takes you. That's the number one way, besides being late or screwing up something else. The biggest complaint from parents is not completion of slides. So my big tip about that is that even if the time is ticking and I've got a little bit of time left, I will do one sentence on a slide, flip, one activity on a slide, flip, one thing on the slide and flip. I will never end class and not finish all the slides, because that is the best way to get low Apple feedbacks from parents.
Yeah.
Kelly?
Can I? Okay, a question in the chat, and I'll also respond to what you just said. Okay, so Savannah says, how do you handle chatty kids who eat up the clock with conversation? I had this the other day. It was a couple weeks ago, but it was a supplemental class. Luckily, this girl was super advanced, but I had to just keep saying, okay, let's get back to the lesson. Okay, how about then you tell me about that if we have time? Or I just kept having to steer her back, or, make it go. Mary?
Yes, so with a chatty student, for me, I use that as the reward. So instead of a different supplemental reward, say, okay, when you answer do 3 more pages, then you can talk to me for this many seconds and tell me anything you want, and that's your reward. And so use it because the parents do love when children can do that free talk and have the opportunity to express their thoughts and feelings, but at the same time, you have to get through the lesson. So using it as a reward system has really worked well for me.
That's probably part of my problem, is I'm just as chatty as they are.
So I think the other timing tip for really new students new teachers is realizing that basically 1 minute per slide is a really good guideline. Some slides will take longer and some will go much more quickly, but there's generally around 27 slides in a lesson. So trying to think of like 1 minute per slide and knowing that you can go more quickly on some. The other, if there's a lot of questions on a slide, I like using the dice, and I'll say, and I'm running late. If I have time, I will do them all. But if I'm running late, I'll throw the dice. Okay, let's do question number 3. And it becomes a game where they're not doing every single one. They're doing the ones I have time to roll the dice for. And then we move on. And in feedback, I may say for homework, she can complete the other questions on that slide. So it's one way to get them moving. The other tip that I have is that as you develop regulars, you can really learn what your students are good at and what they struggle with. So if your student is really good at reading CVC words but struggle to read the story, spend less time on those CVC words, but allow for more time. Spend less time on your intro conversation to build connection at the beginning and allow time for reading. The other is don't worry about sticking strictly to the slides. You know, I had a student this morning who is level 2, unit 12 now, yeah, and she still doesn't read CVC words. So, and she has repeated units 4 through 7 twice. So she is really struggling. She is a new 6-year-old. She's just not, I don't think, developmentally ready to do it. So instead of adhering strictly to the slides, I customize the lesson for her. I will pick several words that we will focus on in that lesson. I spend the beginning of the lesson reviewing those words, and then anywhere those words show up in the lesson, we spend time working with them. And in feedback, I write to the parents and say, you know, I don't want to overwhelm your student by having her focus on every single detail in the lesson. This is what we are working on, and as she develops those skills, we will add to them. And that has worked. They do not want to send her back again. So we will work with her at the pace that she is able to do it. And if that means not covering everything, I still cover every slide. Do something that she can do, whether it's looking at the first letter for each word and developing the ability to know what sound that letter makes. But so don't be afraid to communicate with the parent and say, this is what we're working on. This is how I can help her. She is not at level, but with work, she will get there, and praise what she does well.
Yeah. Great. I love it. Melissa, did you want to add something?
Well, I think these are all great tips. I mean, I was going to say, you know, do something on every slide, but if that time is catching up with you, you know, start doing one thing. And it's funny because I do the dice too. I'll number the sentences 1 to 5 and I'll roll a dice and I'll say, oh, look, we're doing sentence 4. And we just do that sentence, you know, and if they get it right, then we're going to move on. And if they get it wrong, I might do one more, just, you know, give them that correction and do one more. The other thing I was going to say is, especially like with new teachers who are getting trials now, you know, who are worried about pacing or thinking about pacing, you really want to try to get that good buy-in right at 25, because they are starting to come in. They cut you off and the salespeople come in on the video and they will talk to the parents and they'll get them to sign up. They talk to the kids. They go to the VIP site. So if this happens to you, you can actually go back and watch your playback and you can see. Now it's in Chinese, you can't understand it, but you can see the whole conversation where they're talking to the parents and then they talk to the student and they get them to sign up. But they're going to do that right at 25. And so you've seen a lot of people saying on Facebook, I got cut off, right?
Me.
That's what it is. That's what they're doing.
I didn't realize that.
Okay. Last night, I was just asking in my live this morning, they cut me off at 22 minutes and something seconds. And it said, thank you for a great class, teacher, goodbye, or something like that, add feedback. And I was like, I didn't say goodbye.
Was that a trial or?
Yes, it was a Starlight trial at 22 minutes.
Okay.
Well, Starlight trials are less though. Remember,
they are 22-25.
Yeah.
It even says it on
20
the
to
slide.
25.
20 to 25. So this is the 3rd time it's happened. And I'm like, if it would warn me,
maybe
like
finish those at 20.
I try to be almost done at 20.
It depends. If they're great readers, I let them read. You know what I mean? But when they're struggling, 20. But if they're great readers and they are like doing the retell and everything, then I'll give them the 23 minutes or so. But if it was like a warning, like teacher, time to say goodbye, then I could say goodbye. But when it was just like, I was like, wow.
I know.
But Eddie was so fun.
It's good. It doesn't seem to affect it. Like I still see, even though I feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't say goodbye, or I was in the middle of a sentence and they're going to think then I figured out what was happening, but those kids still sign on because they're getting that personal attention, so I feel like that they're watching and they're like, oh, this is a good place to jump in.
Well, if I knew that that's what was happening and the video just didn't cut out and everybody was left like I was, then that would make me feel better. But I just thought, wait, do they just think I was a jerk and like cut off the camera? Like what happened?
Go back and look at your playback.
I will.
You won't be able to understand.
Oh, that's so funny because I had one that just the other day and I just realized it signed up because you're like, they just still sign up. They still sign up.
I mean, because of the way the sales team handles. I mean, this is what they do, so I guess the way that they handle it.
I put in a ticket. I'm like, please tell my student goodbye.
Wow.
Well, now you know.
Wow. Well, thanks for telling me that. I am Amanda.
Oh, my trick for trials is before the trial, look up the goodbye slide number and write that down on a sticky note on your computer so that when you look at the clock and it's getting close to 25, not the regular cutoff trials, but the regular trials, that you can jump to that goodbye slide and at least wave goodbye. So always know the goodbye number. Because remember, in trials, we don't have to finish all the slides. You complete what you can in the trial. So always and even if you go and look at the materials and the tips that we have section, where you can look and preview the lesson before on computer, there's someone will write the goodbye slide numbers. So you can just write that number down and copy it if you don't flip through the slides. Or if you teach trials often, just know that like this trial, level 1, the beginner trial is going to end on slide 20, and know that you can flip to that slide. So that's always a good strategy for pacing and making sure to say goodbye and finish.
Great.
Yeah, can I say?
Kelly,
So not just trials, do that for every single class.
Yeah.
Because some classes have the blank slide at the end, some don't. Level 6s will have a blank slide, then the homework slide, then the last slide. So always write the homework slide and the regular slide down, and that helps with pacing because sometimes then there's extra slides. Sometimes on an assessment, you have the slide, then you have the project. And I'll write down the numbers of the project slides too, because to me, those are optional. I'd rather get through the material, especially a struggling student. And I'm like, oh, good, the project stuff's on slide number 22. So I really have a little more time with this student. Yeah, and so, and I also, a lot of people in the chat are asking what about upper levels? So I could give a few tips of how I speed up upper levels that are behind, especially when you get halfway or you're starting to get close. And the key is, if you start to panic on the inside, don't let it show. Still don't make it look like you're rushing, even if you are on the inside going like this. But a lot of reading, you can always split the reading. I like your idea about the dice. I didn't think of it, but I usually just circle 1 or 2 questions and we'll ask the 1 or 2 questions. If it's fill in the blank and we're really behind, I will read it to them and just ask them to tell me what to put in the blank. So those are ways I kind of speed up a few tricks to speeding up the upper levels when you're behind.
And when you're talking about shared reading, what I let them know is, let's practice your listening skills so that it doesn't just seem like you're taking over the reading for them, but that they are practicing a different skill by listening to you read. And while you're reading, they're listening to the ebb and flow of your voice and what a natural English speaker sounds like. So it is helpful to them. So, but I just add that little bit in so that they feel like it's not just being taken from them.
It's part of the class. Great.
Great.
I like your dice idea too, because, sorry, Amanda, I think the dice makes it look like it was planned rather than just circle, But yeah, I always circle it too. I think the dice makes it look like it's planned. Amanda?
I taught a level 4 this morning, and she's my regular, so I only teach her exclusively. Her and I have built a comfortable relationship where conversation is what we're looking for building. So at the opening, we spend a good 5 minutes giving her sentence stems to really build her conversation and confidence. So that eats up my time in level 4. So today I taught a lesson with multi-step mathematics problems. I read every single one of those. She did not read them. I circled the key information and skim read, because there's 4 examples in one lesson of a multi-step math problem. There's just no way I can get to all of that. I'm already crunching the time because we do a lot of conversation. I also use this stop sign. So in the paragraph that the kid reads, I will tell them read a section and then hit up my stop sign, because if their pronunciation is so poor, I cannot go and correct a big giant 3-paragraph slide of pronunciation pronunciation accurately. So I know the kids that are struggling, I will tell them, read to here and stop. And then we will stop. We will do the pronunciation for that section. And then I might read, and then they might read the last section. So just a tool to use is that quick stop, like take a break, get that pronunciation correction done, then you read, then they read again, so that you're really sharing that time and make it go a little bit faster on the clock.
Mm. Good. Yeah, I like popcorn reading and echo reading as well, too. Guys, I don't know if I said thank you for coming yet. I'm not going to read off everybody's names, but thank you so much. There's 19 of you in here. Don't forget to use all caps if you have questions for us. Fake it till you make it, Danny said.
Yeah, and keep in mind that when you're doing some of the younger kids, you might have to stall on some of the slides. Like not always is it, I'm trying to get through and I'm crunching time. Like I have a student I had this morning that is only like 4, and she's doing the new level 1 thing, and she knows all her numbers, all her colors. I think she struggles a little bit on the letters, but I mean, she can converse. So sometimes you have to have extension and try to make things last a little longer. So that can be tricky too.
Because level 1 a lot of times is like one word on a page and you're like, well, this isn't a minute long.
Yeah, you don't want to get to the end and go, oh, now what do I do?
Yeah. I do have
level 2 also.
Yeah.
Level 2. Yeah.
I have these nearby, and what I've started doing is, I think we talked about this in one of our collabs, like they know the letters in order, but I just shuffle them up and just give them a couple or show them and have them start recognizing the letters out of order, just because level 1 can be super quick sometimes if we're not careful. So, yeah. Amanda looks like she's getting ready to say something. What you got, Amanda?
I got some tips for that. Okay, so for classes that go too fast, throughout the class in the phonics section for level 2, I will stop in that phonics section and jump to the blank slide at the end. And for those higher kids who are already reading CVC words, I will write on my whiteboard and they write on the blank slide a sentence. So I'm teaching them to create a sentence with their own words and doing writing at the same time. That can give me like 3 minutes or 4 minutes of time burnt. Yes, good. And then if I get to the end and I have paced it wrong and I have extra time, I have a drawer right above where I pull, and I have little quick font readers that are simple and easy. So we will read together with the student. I've shared this before. I never read a book to the student. I read the page and they read a page. This one's really fun with the blue hat, green hat. Sandra Boynton's always a favorite. So I'll read blue hat and they say blue hat, green hat, green hat. So again, this adds extra minutes at the end when I've maybe completed things a little early, a little extension and extra work at the end. So I always have this available just in case as my go-to.
Yeah. So why don't you read it to them?
I don't read it to them because it's not a reading class. If it was like leveled reading class where it was story time and they're listening to me read, parents are paying big money for our classes for their students' opportunity to speak to us.
Right.
So if I took 5 minutes and read to the student, I'm taking 5 minutes of time away from my student conversing with me. The whole idea of one-to-one classes is the kid speaks to me, like builds that confidence in speaking English. So I support them. I read, they read, I read, they read. And then when we're finished with the book, if I know the kid can do it, I'll have the kid read the whole book, just them and not me, so that I'm giving them that opportunity. But I have never sat in a class and read a story to a student. That's another good way to get a bad 5-apple review.
Well, I did it once at a parent's request when they loaded the wrong level and we couldn't get the fireman. The mom's like, can you do ABCs? Yes. I pull out my ABCs. Can you read a book? I'm like, yes. 25 minutes, guys. Nothing worked.
That's crazy.
We couldn't write on the slide or anything.
That's rough. That's called surviving.
And she still has never left me 5 apples.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Mary.
So again, with that, those classes that go quickly. I have an example of some really brilliant, really young students. I have a 3-year-old right now that's about to begin level 3. She reads
Wow.
fluently.
Oh
She
my
gets through the
goodness. 3
slides.
years old?
3. Yes, she started when she was 3 years and 2 months, and she could already read. And she's amazing. So what I do with her, because what she will struggle with are the concepts, especially as we head into the upper levels.
Yeah.
So I have already covered mammals, birds, reptiles, fish with her as her reward system. So in the rewards, because she has room to have more time on each slide because she just goes through it so quickly, we start talking about, this is a bird. How is it different from this animal? And she's already got the vocabulary for feathers, beaks, warm-blooded, cold-blooded. So when she gets there, she will be ready. She understands it. And that I do with my brilliant students who will need more time in the lessons and units to come, but right now are breezing through what they have.
What do you think is going to happen when the math gets harder up there? I mean, do you think she's gonna be on it? I mean, some of these that can read and converse, they get to that math and they just struggle.
We have to remember, though, that we're not teaching them math, we're teaching them vocabulary.
Right.
So if she can learn that this is a plus sign, this is a minus sign, this is an equal sign, that's what she needs to learn. She doesn't need to learn the computing, and I will put that in feedback. Of course, this is more advanced than the math skills she's able to do, but let's teach her the words. And then when she gets there, she'll have the vocabulary. So I will simplify the math so that it is at a level that she can do. And she can add now. She was so excited when she learned how to do 2 plus 3, 2 plus 3. Yeah, exactly. I still need to learn it, but she can do it.
Wow.
So it's about vocabulary. I think sometimes we think we're teaching them all the subjects. And what we really are is helping them to practice the vocabulary in each of these subject areas.
Wow.
Yeah. So I will give them the answer even, like, I have a 9-year-old in level 4, and it's very similar. They're doing these 2-step word problems. But sometimes I'll fill them in, because what I want to hear her use that vocabulary as she reads the answer sentence. I'm not really worried about whether or not she could get there herself. So, I mean, don't be afraid to just, on any math section, even the shapes. A parallelogram is a hard word. So
really.
I'm afraid to just give it to the student to have them use it in that conversation.
We were talking about shapes the other day, and a while back, I forgot. I always tell my students my favorite shape is a sphere because it's a ball and I love sports. So today, sphere came up, and my little guy was like, "That's your favorite shape. You told me that." And I was like, "Yay."
Awesome.
Yeah. So as far as shapes, let's see.
I was going to say too, as far as teaching content, I feel like when I first taught the level 3 birds and mammals and reptiles, I thought I was going to die because it was so hard for me to understand and to teach to the student, what does it mean to shed and to breathe in the lungs? I thought, I've got to teach them all this stuff, and mammals drink milk and they've got warm blood, cold blood. What in the heck? I can't teach all this. So what I realized after teaching that and stressing myself out that I'm the worst mammals and birds teacher ever, I remembered what Melissa just said. That is that we are just teaching the words. The science concepts are taught by their science teachers in their Chinese classes. So they are learning about mammals and warm-blooded and cold-blooded. I need a picture that shows that. But once they've got the word, then baba, vamos, because I cannot teach the concept in an entirety in a one-time class. So.
I'm sorry,
Somebody's
Amanda,
asking.
What was the end? I saw that. Thank you. I'm sorry, Amanda, what did you just say?
Oh, that's all. It's hard to teach the concept. Like, I can't teach all of those warm-blooded, cold-blooded, shedding, all that stuff in those lessons. I'm just teaching the words that go along with the concept they're learning in science class. And once I did that, I was like, relief, so much better.
Yes.
Okay, I know Cindy has mentioned that many times. I need to remember that because Cindy has told me that before. Yeah, Cindy, can you answer that tic-tac-toe for me?
Yeah, so somebody's asking about tic-tac-toe. These are tic-tac-toes that I have all made up. You could either use something like this with your lesson, or you could make your own, like look at the concepts in the lesson and make your own for tic-tac-toe. This one's a Christmas one. These I bought from someone. I think it was Lisa.
Teacher Lisa. I told her we've been mentioning her on our YouTube.
And honestly, I think they changed some of the things so they don't match up completely, but that's okay. You know, like the kids don't care.
Right. And so do you use it as a reward, Cindy, or
actually I haven't used it that much. I actually use this for my granddaughter as a beginning reader. I used it more for her, and she loves tic-tac-toe. But I honestly don't do tic-tac-toe that much because I don't know. I just don't really like tic-tac-toe. I think it's weird because like I can beat the kids or like sometimes I have to let them beat me because I don't want them to always lose and that kind of stuff. So I don't really use it much, but I do like it. Like I know teacher Danny uses it, and she will put words in it and stuff like that from the curriculum. So if I do have time and I have a good reader, it is a resource. There's something else. Oh, and about the mammals and birds, one thing that I found, though, we are teaching them the words, but it is different because a lot of kids in America are around animals and a lot of kids in China are not. So I think that like I got chickens and I had chicks in the house and I showed them my chicks. You know, anything you can do that is, you know, real, or even if you took a picture of yourself with an animal, you know, those kind of things help them to relate, because we are teaching them the words, but we also want to get them to relate it to something, you know, not just because they won't take it with them and remember it if it's not related to something. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and how awesome that you actually have live chicks. I use a lot of props, you know, so the chick hatches and out comes the chick. And actually the mammals, and that unit is my favorite of everything I teach. That's my favorite one.
I actually had a kid that he visited his grandfather up in the mountains. Normally he lives in the city, and he had a whole bunch of chickens and a whole bunch of pigs, and he took the iPad out, but they raise them for food. Like they're not just for fun. Like I'm raising mine for eggs, so they're more like pets kind of. But it was a little different. But you know, there are some kids that can visit their grandparents on the farm and things like that, but there are a lot of kids that really don't, other than a zoo or in books or on TV, you know. So if we do have something, like if you think of it and you have a dog or you're with someone else's dog, take a picture of yourself with the animal and use that for your lessons.
The other day I had this really cute 5-year-old and I gave her this as a reward. So it was the tiger. And she said, "Oh, it is drinking its mama's milk. I drink my mama's milk." And it was like,
okay.
So sweet.
Wow. So and how old was she? 2.5?
No, she was 5. She was 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was just really, really precious to see.
Cute. Sydney said they want to play tic-tac-toe on the blank slide at the end of the lesson. They want to draw it. Yeah, I've tried to draw it too, and they go over it and draw it.
Oh, so I have an idea about that. Oh, sorry, Amanda.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, you know, I have those kids too. Like they come to my class, and apparently that teacher before me has been letting them draw tic-tac-toe on every slide. And so what I do then is I go to the blank slide and I'll let them draw the board, and they'll play and I'll play, and then I jump back to that slide. Use that jump feature. So like Kelly was saying, write down what's the goodbye slide, write down what are the project slides, and write down the number of the blank slides, usually the last one. Some of the supplementals it's not, but you can just click to it, let them play, and then say, okay, we're going to do another slide, and then click back and let them play, and then click back and teach. And you can keep going like that, and it'll go pretty fast. And once they pick up on it, like I finish the slide, I get to play again. I finish the slide, I get to play again. It can also help with the pacing. If they are kind of wanting to play tic-tac-toe because they don't want to do the lesson, it's a really great way to motivate them do those slides so they can jump and play.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have a little friend. I have to say 2 more slides or 3 more slides, then star. And yeah, Amanda.
I was going to say, I think kids when in their regular classrooms in China, they are very serious. They are sitting in desks, very studious. They
Even
are
more
not
so
laughing.
now, I think.
Yes, they are not laughing or joking or
Yeah.
having fun with their teacher. So when I can play a little tic-tac-toe and make a little kid in China smile, of course I'm going to do it. But what I do is I play 1 round of tic-tac-toe learning, and then we do another round of tic-tac-toe fun, and however long I want to spend doing it. But I never use class time unless it's the learning tic-tac-toe. For me, I go to the last slide and I draw the tic-tac-toe and I write in numbers. I can write pretty quick the numbers in there. And believe it or not, kids actually need to practice the difference between 13 and 30. So this is a great way to practice that in a fun way. So as we cross, they say 10. As I cross, I say 18. And I'm really correcting that pronunciation, reteaching, and then we'll wipe and we'll play for fun. And then it's all fun and games. But I will do this at the 24-minute so that I'm playing a game that's still learning if I have extra time, and then a couple rounds extra just for fun, and they love it. It's okay. It's your classroom. Have fun with your students. They love playing tic-tac-toe, then make it work, but really make it be outside the limits of class time, unless it's an educational one like the one Cindy showed, or a number one or something with vocabulary, because that's another way to get a very bad Apple review, is playing games with students. So be careful with that. Really, class time is about learning English, and any way that you can bring the fun into it, go for it.
Even the tic-tac-toe is in the lesson for level 1. There's a whole lesson on tic-tac-toe. Yes, Kelly.
Well, I just, so that they can't control it and start drawing. I mean, I have my own and I just say X or O. And if I do it as a reward, it's real quick. I give them a star and they have like whatever, if they're X or O, just real quick. They get 1 number and I put it on 1 number, then we move on. So it takes like literally a second. Doesn't take too much time. So that's one way I play also. And I have had kids, like I timed it perfect and we're on the last slide at like 24:40 and they're drawing a tic-tac-toe board. And I've had to say, I'm sorry, I have another class. We can do it next time. So sometimes you just have to say that.
Yeah.
And games are good, but like Amanda said, related to the lesson material. So, you know, I did this workshop at Journey where I talked about how to turn the lesson slides into a game. You know, the slides where they're reading the sight words, or, you know, that where they're reading sentences, and similar to the dice where we were talking about helping with pacing, games can help too, because they help with that. Well, we just did 2 on that slide on purpose because that was a game slide, you know, or the slides that look like a game board. And there's one, like level 3 and up, I think there's one in every lesson. Definitely you can make that a game, make it into a game that you play with your students, and it makes that lesson material fun. Big fan of games over here. Teacher Melissa's class.
Melissa, can you give an example of some of the games that you play on the slides? Like, is that easy to do without a slide in front of you?
Well, I mean, yeah. So I definitely will, I will number them. Number the like a sight word slide, number the sight words however they are, number 1 to 4, and then have the student, you know, close their eyes and they pick a number, and then they have to make a sentence out of whatever word is that number, like whatever word I put 3 above, they have to make a sentence out of it. That's one that's pretty simple to do without showing the slide. I also have the wheel game that I will put all of the sight words on a wheel. And so I'll pull that up in my video feed, and you know, we'll spin it and then do something with that word, or they have to repeat that word or spell that word depending on what lesson it is, something like that. I've also, you know, I like the game Jenga, so I'll put it together, hold it up on my whiteboard, and we'll play with that, where you know, the numbers that they get right, we'll pull out those. On one side it's alphabet, on one side it's numbers, like I've used permanent Sharpie marker, and then we'll pull out those and we'll see if we can make the tower fall, things like that.
Cool. That's cool.
Cool. Yeah, Amanda.
Oh, I was going to say, so another like quick for upper levels, how to like get things done fast is, that slide we have that's word search where they
Yeah.
have to find them in circle. So I play a race game for those slides. So I circle one fast, teacher's turn, your turn. And so it speeds up the ones that are hard to find. I could find them a little faster so that we can get past that slide. Personally, I don't know.
I
It's not my favorite slide, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to get past it. And so we're still going to circle those and spell the words, but I'm going to circle and the kid will circle to up the time quicker to get past that slide onto something much better. So that's what I use for those game slides. So it's kind of like a race teacher game.
You know, a lot of the sight word slides say like read 3 times or read 2 times. So I have them read once for practice, and then I pull up my phone and I ask them, for my older ones, how many seconds do you want today? And they try to beat the clock, and almost all of them love it. There's only one that's no thank you. But they'll tell me like 5 seconds for 10 words, and I'm like, are you sure? And I'm telling you what, they read them and they read them well. So, and if they miss any, we go back over it. But so you're not reading it 3 boring times, just setting a timer they think is hilarious. And
I love the timer.
It makes them go quicker too.
Yeah, it does. And it's in the lesson. Like, you don't have to have anything special. You don't have to have digital effects so you can click the timer in the bottom of that classroom.
Yeah.
There's like 60 seconds, 30 seconds, and 15 seconds. Like, definitely they love the timers.
None of them want 15 anymore.
No.
They're all like, that's too long now. Yeah. But I guess you could like count it and write it down too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Amanda.
Another thing I do for upper levels to get them to say the vocabulary word. Do you know in the upper levels, those slides where it's like the vocabulary word and a definition of it and then a sample sentence? So I will go through the series of those and teach them vocabulary. Then I will flip back to the first one and just have them read the word over again to really get the pronunciation. I do that in every single upper level class that I teach because, again, we're trying to get them to get that pronunciation solid in their mind. It takes your brain 40 times to hear something before you remember it. So I'm going to go back quickly, flip slides, and we're going to say the Great Wall. We're going to say China. We're going to say a watchtower, all of those quickly, and I'll just flip slides back, and then we go on with the lesson. So it's a quick way to get extra practice. You don't even realize that we're doing a reversing and doing it again for that really solid foundation in their pronunciation and the ability to say it. And sometimes they need help. So it's good that we're going to go back and practice those again. So it's just like a little reteaching, a way to zoom back and then zoom forward and learn the words.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know I have several students in that unit right now, and those are hard words. Architecture, like watch pagoda, watchtower. Yeah. Then that's, I think, right before the assessment. Yeah, the sculptor, all that. Those are hard.
Yeah, that's really
I have little cards that I got on TPT.
Nice.
Empress and just cards that I found for all of them. But there's so many. Look at this. Guys, this is just vocabulary for level 4, unit 3. Only unit 3. Wow. Obviously, I don't pull them all out, but I just pull out that day. But yeah, level 4 is a ton of words.
Truthfully, for me, I think there's enough images on the slide to support my teaching. I don't have extra vocabulary, but if there's something that really the student doesn't understand, like the word recycle, well, then I might go on my phone and just find a picture of the recycling symbol or a bottle, because again, I cannot keep images or cards or flashcards for every single picture, every single word, and every single levels. But really, the ones I know they need help with, I've got my phone. So I just quickly, this morning, what did I look up? I looked up X-ray. I quickly typed in X-ray and like, boop, there's a little X-ray. And even they can't tell that it's from some goofy like shopping site, but there's a picture of X-ray. And so again, I'm just really reinforcing the vocabulary where I need extra practice. I don't use flashcards. And I do use props in upper levels, but a lot less than I do in the other levels, because
I think they're great for extension.
Practice. Oh yeah, definitely.
If I have extra time at the end and I have my, I don't always have time to get them ready, but if I know that level's coming up, I grab those, and at the end I'll cover up the word and what's this as an extension to have something ready just in case, because sometimes on the fly I get nervous, but if I have a little extra something like your would you rather cards are nearby and that kind of stuff is ready to go, then if I have extra time, I'm not worried at all.
And
if
that's
I'm not prepared, I'm like,
yeah, because we're talking about pacing, and so everybody's assuming you got to finish at 25. You can't go over. You know, don't go over 28. But it's also like a really big problem if you're finishing before 25 too.
Right.
And the
Right.
parents can tell like you're just filling time, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You look at your clock, you're like, oh, it's 23 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for 2 minutes? Well, they're going to be upset about that. So that's where like that helps, right? That extension where you have vocabulary words or you have a tic-tac-toe game with, lesson content in it. That's where, that's also important because you're going to see both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I do not have all of the flashcards either. But what I try to do is if we do have extra time, I might keep a little or even a whiteboard next to me. And if I look at the time and I'm going to have extra time, I might write some of the words that are in the materials on that piece of the board. And at the blank slide, I'll say, let's spell some words. And then we spell some words, or we might use them in a sentence and stuff like that, or, things like that. So I do a lot of spelling, or I might go back to the sight words. And if I have time, we can make sentences with those words, and using conversation is big. Like sometimes the kids know the vocabulary, but they don't know how to put it in sentences or converse in a way. Like I just got a 5 apple today, but I'm not sure if the parent was saying I should talk more or I didn't talk more. To try and get the student to talk more and speak. The student is very quiet and reserved. And my opinion is if he has regular lessons, it's going to be a lot easier to do it, but their lessons are sporadic. So when I see him, it's been a while. Yeah. So, but conversation is huge, and not just like listing things and not just spelling things, but trying to get them. Like to me, it might be just chit chatting, but to them, that's what they want. They want to be able to speak fluently. So keep that in mind as well.
Right. Really quick, Mary, I see you're next. Keep them coming in the chat. I see some awesome ideas for upcoming collaborations. We love it. I'm writing them down, guys. I wrote down what you're saying in the chat. So I've seen collaboration on rewards, a whole collaboration on games and slides. Keep them coming. I'm writing them down. Okay, Mary.
So one of the things for extension when we're working on vocabulary words, especially with the upper level students, don't think just of the vocabulary word, but start asking them for similar words or opposite words, because this will help them when they move into their T-cells testing. So I work a lot with that as well as creating original sentences. But remember things like opposites and similar.
Good. Stephanie, I agree. Games build rapport. Oh, sorry. I agree. Games do build rapport. And I think she said gamifying your lesson is an amazing workshop too. Is that your work? You do that workshop?
No, I think David does it with
cool.
VIPKid, but
what's it called again?
Gamifying your lessons.
Oh, okay. Gamifying.
And I did it at Journey. It was something similar to that, but I think he does one. It might be a monthly workshop, but.
And in my notes, I wrote down to make sure to announce that but there's a workshop on time management that helped me when I was a new teacher. So make sure you check that out too. Was it Kelly trying to talk to us now and I interrupted Kelly? Sorry.
Okay. So when I was a new teacher, so anyone watching who's a new teacher, like Melissa was saying and Amanda was saying, like, I did think of it as like, if I got to the end, like filling time. And like Ed Nace says in his book, don't think of it as filling time. And I didn't really understand till I'd been a teacher for a while. But like Amanda was saying earlier, they are paying for those 25 minutes. And I have my son taking Spanish lessons now. We just started. So I was thinking, like, would I want a teacher to just think of it as filling time? Like, you want them to get their money's worth and learning the English. Yeah. And one thing I do for upper levels too is for them, you can just start asking more questions. You see the slides coming, it's coming too fast. You can easily just add questions like, I think is it 4 or 5? We're talking about technology. I could just say like, well, what do you use for VIPKid? Do you use a laptop or a desktop? Do you ever use a camera? Do you use your cell phone to take pictures? You know, you could just ask questions. It's easy for the upper levels to slow things down. Just ask a lot more questions.
It's much easier to extend on each lesson than to have this huge amount of time at the end.
Agreed. Yeah. Yesterday I did that lesson, Kelly, and I called cell phones, cameras, had to fix myself like 3 different things. I'm like, okay, Anthony, you just teach me. You tell me the words. You know them. We've been in this unit.
Well, that's good.
Oh, I was calling him all different things, and I'm like, Anthony, help me out. But I've had him for a long time, so. There are so many things. I feel bad in the chat. I have not checked it as much as I usually do.
They're discussing the colors of the shirts.
Yeah.
And I have different shirts, but all my shirts are like short sleeves. So I usually end up wearing a sweatshirt. And it seems like I wear black all the time, but I don't really mean to. It's just because my shirts have VIPKid, and then I'm freezing. It's still freezing in New Hampshire. So
yeah, I have the same one as Melissa. When I get chilly, it's on the back of my chair usually.
I love that.
And I throw that one on. Yeah.
So I said, you know, I wear orange. Probably for the first 2 years, it was orange every day. And then I guess I got a little bit more comfortable with other things, but they always are going to be VIPKid like this, like it has the logo on it, or, you know, like the Google Slides group shirt or something like that. So it's still VIPKid, but it might not be orange. Got a little braver in my 3rd year.
Since we're talking about t-shirts, guess what I got? Did you know at Good Fortune, you can now order the past things?
Oh,
I went and got that black t-shirt with the teacher.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, how much was it?
I don't remember.
With Panda?
Yeah.
With the
yeah.
Panda.
That's
cool
my
one.
favorite one.
That's really cool. I like that.
Stars were in that box, weren't they?
What's that?
Amanda's stars were in the box with that shirt.
They were.
Yes.
Awesome.
I didn't get those. No, I didn't get that box. I didn't start until the month after, but that was the box that changed my mind for wanting Good Fortune.
Yeah, Danny did a video on that, and she was like, I guess I do like that thing, you know? Yeah,
Remember
the
bamboo.
That was awesome. I actually have one coming, hopefully, the next one.
Some of the older kids really want free talk when you have extra minutes. I love free talk. It's my favorite.
Talking about free talk, I've got these really neat dice that I just ordered.
Oh, those are cool.
They are neat because they have, you know, free talk questions. What foods do you like? You know, who is your role model? What do you like to do in cold weather? Like, you could just pull one out and ask them to start talking. It may or may not be lesson related. Some of the dice are more, they come in sets of 6. So some are more appropriate for the unit or not. But I really like using this as a reward within the, you know, as I'm teaching.
Where are those from?
I got them on Amazon. So I can send you a link if you like.
Yeah, those are great.
What sports do you like? They're great. And I didn't have to make them. I just grabbed them. They're small, easy to use.
If I know I have extra time and we're reading a story, I like these. What is the story about? Who is in the story? So we talk about the characters, what will happen next, you know, depending on the student, but favorite part.
Those are awesome.
And where did you get those?
These are for Lakeshore Learning. And the reason I got these in my kindergarten class was I noticed they needed more help with questions and comprehension. And I was terrible at figuring out questions. So I would just have them come up and pick a wand, pick a star. But I'll tell you, I use them every day for colors, for counting, for, you get a star, just everything. There's still more that come in 8.
Casey, is there something on the back? Like, is it two different?
It's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. But I mean, you could easily make these with popsicle sticks if you wanted to, you know, and just write down a bunch of questions and
That's great.
Amanda Panda, your new project for Etsy.
I guess so. Stars and questions. I wanted to share something I do with colors. So I have little colored cards and they have the colors. So, oops, sorry, that's upside down. But I use them in class all the time for asking the student what's the color. And so I'm always, these are in my hand. They're really easy to fit in the perfect size. And colors are really popular. It's a great way to extend the time, asking questions like, what color is this? What color do you like? I'm in the clothing unit with all my regulars. Oh my goodness. So all we talk about is clothes. Do you like pink shirts? Do you like
Yeah.
blue pants?
Yes.
So these are like in my hand all the time. And a color that's really important to go over with students is the color orange. I found that more students say oranges for orange instead of orange. So I've got the little card and I have a little orange. And so I can differentiate the two when that comes up in class. That happens often. Yep, an orange.
I got these at the dollar store, and these are same and different, but they have animals and people. So I use these for the clothing unit, but they also work for like, what is she doing? What is she doing? What is he doing? What is he wearing? What color are his pants? So I found these, I pulled these out. These were from the dollar store, and also animals, and how are they the same? How are they different?
These are also from the dollar store. And what I like in the color unit for extension is yellow, blue, and now it turns to green.
Ooh, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
they learned that extension.
That's
One of my other favorite props is the ice cream cone. Many of you have it. I just found a brand new way to use it in the level 1 India unit. You know, when we're throwing paint on faces.
Oh, paint.
It looks like the paint. Level 1.
Yeah.
We had so much fun throwing paint on each other the other day.
That's funny. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, that's really cute. That's a good idea.
Collaboration station about comprehension and helping them get better with it. Wow, Sydney, that's a good one too. Comprehension has always been the toughest for me in college and school. Just reading comprehension has been rough. If I listen to a story, I'm better off. But if I try to read it, I have to keep going back and rereading. So comprehension.
That is definitely, I had a student that I actually taught that she could read anything. I'd never seen anything like it, but she could not remember anything. And that is not something you can always teach in a regular class, like what we're doing. That's beyond normal.
But the more frequently you ask questions for the little blocks that they're reading, the more likely, then you're developing comprehension as you're going along, and build on that skill, so that ask a relatively simple question and then like, oh, I was able to answer that. Okay, then ask something a little more detailed. And as they progress in their comprehension, they can start inferring meaning. But initially, have something that they can almost read in the text as an answer. And they slowly build their confidence in being able to answer the questions.
You know, in kindergarten, we started teaching them to infer information. I was like, whew, that's a tough concept for a 5-year-old, you know? So as they built higher levels. Anyway, I wrote that one down too. I love it, Sydney.
Somebody, is Jason, is that a guy? Jason Ray Cheek? Is that a guy?
Yeah. He's got a few in here.
I wanted to just say he has something about talking about the underwear creepy thing. In my opinion, I have tested this out. When I don't teach that lesson very often, but one time recently I had a mom right there with the boy right there, and I'm thinking, okay, here it comes, but if you just treat it like a regular word, like socks and shirt and everything, and just and you don't have to show them anything specific, just keep going. And the mom didn't flinch, the mom said it too, to them it was just a word. So I think
it's very different.
Yeah,
it's just
go along.
Unless you have the student who shows you their underwear and then flips it down, which I had happen one time.
Did you hear about that from this morning with me?
No.
Yeah, I had to put in a ticket this morning.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
I figured that's what you were getting, Amanda.
I had to go get them. These are my little boys, so I have boy underwear. But I think having the tool and the prop showing it. Just let it go. Don't be inhibited about anything. I mean, come on. Sometimes teacher Amanda, like these go here. Like really. Like and they think I'm so funny. Here's the underwear. Is this where you put the underwear? No, teacher. Oh, and then Dino, I've got Dino. He wears the underwear. So sometimes Dino gets the underwear on, and it's just hilarious. They're so big. But I mean, if you're a kid watching a teacher on like a 4-inch little screen and you've got a little fun panda with underwear, hello, it's so funny. So just let it go. Don't worry about stuff like that. Blech.
Yeah, just let it go.
Is yours American Girl dolls
Yes.
underwear?
Yeah. So I just show them this, and yeah, like Cindy said, just treat it like socks. We're just teaching them the vocabulary.
Right.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, just throw in a little warning here from my first year. So we were going through that lesson, right? So I was like, oh, do you wear a shirt? Yes, I wear a shirt. Do you wear pants? Yes, I wear pants. Do you wear socks? Yeah. So we get to that part and I'm like, underwear, and we talk about it, whatever's on the slide. And I was like, are you wearing underwear? Because I thought for sure, like, you're wearing underwear. And the kid was like, no, teacher, I don't wear underwear. And he like stood up.
Oh my word. Yeah, that would be a little weird.
Don't ask that again. Like,
see, I'm a mom of 13 kids. I know not to ask that question.
I haven't done that since then, but I feel it's like my duty to warn people. Just
yeah, that's good.
Good warning. Thank you. Yes, they're used to seeing each other's undies in the summer. Yeah, they don't have AC in a lot of places, so it's constantly around there. Yeah. I have a doll suitcase with doll clothes ready. That's from Erica. I know Teacher Kelly does because she has like a little suitcase for the suitcase unit, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny when I had the mom sitting right there and she was saying it too. And it was a boy. It was a little boy. And I didn't show him anything, but I just thought, okay, just keep going. It's fine. It's not.
Yeah. So, Jason, I'm curious, how long have you been a teacher? It's Jason Ray Cheek, right? Yeah. How long have you been a teacher? I've only done that lesson one time, but I've only been with VIPKid for under a year. 278 days, it says on my app.
Wow.
I know, I'm getting up there. Let's see. Underoos on Dino is hilarious. That's cute. Let's see. Laugh my bum off. Candy's gonna get me saying stuff now. I need to get out of my girl. Mindy said she needs to get out her American Girl doll stuff. Good. Okay, so he started last October.
Like I said, for clothing, I have these, which is kind of gives you more things to talk about, like hat, shorts. Like I'll tell them shorts, pants, but it's a skirt, one skirt. So, I like having more things than just, what's on the slides.
Mm-hmm.
And I like just pulling out two Barbies so that the guy and the girl, and she's got a dress and she's got pants and shorts and t-shirt, and they'll often grab their own if it's a girl. Yeah.
I like when they grab stuff, or when we're doing colors and I ask them, do you have something red? And they're all excited to find something red. Fun. Even if it's a pencil, they're like, yes, I do, I love it.
Yeah. Can I say something? Like, you would think Barbies would only be for the little ones, but today in the technology unit, I mean, I didn't want to show, I'm wearing pajamas. So I had to show them with the doll. Like, this is your lap. Kids sit on your lap. This is why it's called a laptop. It sits on your lap. So you can use dolls for the upper levels too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did the same thing. Yay!
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
I didn't. That's a great tip.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Jason's been around just under mine. He's at 217 days. Awesome. I haven't started yet.
Kelly, Erica. I think you need to be uninhibited. I mean, they've definitely seen my owl pajama pants and my orange leggings, and I'm like, lap or leg or knee. And I feel like, especially
that's one of my
they kind of laugh a little bit because then they realize, teacher's wearing pajamas. So I've done that, but sometimes not on purpose, but then I get those laughs and I'm like, okay, yeah.
Oh, so teacher Erica, you've signed up but haven't had any classes yet? Is that what I'm understanding here?
Well, in 3,000 classes, I've only done the underwear unit like a few times. So
Really?
don't worry that, I don't know. Have you done it a lot, Kelly?
I've done it a lot, especially when I first started. When I was a new teacher, I had a lot of level 3s, and now I have a lot of level 4s. But I was teaching a lot for a while. So a couple kids do get embarrassed when you do underwear, but most of them, if you just treat it like, some of them do. But just treat it like socks, like they said.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had an 11 or 12-year-old boy the other day, and he could care less. He's like, underwear. Maybe
they don't really know what it is.
I think he does. I think he just didn't care, but I don't know.
Well, sometimes boys keep it like really, really like.
Yeah, if I don't make a big deal of it.
They don't want to break into their, with boys, I like to, when they're older boys, I like to like throw them off by doing something really that at that point you might want to pull out the little kid underwear.
Candy said, Melissa, we are all wearing pajama pants and slippers.
Yeah.
Erica, good luck. When you get started, you'll love it. Yes, Erica. Right now is kind of a weird time, but once you're in it, you're in it. It's so much fun. Anyone else teaching a lot of leveled reading lately? I taught about 20 last week and 20 more this week. I taught one last week.
One.
Amanda.
I don't mind level reading. I love teaching reading, but I have all regulars. So all my slots are filled. I'm a masterclass teacher all the time.
Right.
It's nice to get supplemental sometimes to add variety, but currently I'm in level 3, unit 3. So coming to mammals and birds soon, and I'm going to freak out. But all my regulars are all together. And so we're working our way up. And then I'm in level 4.
Oh, that's cool.
Level 4, unit 8. So, and they're all kind of clustered together. It's funny how that happened.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who I teach, like they're friends from school, like classmates. I also teach like kids who live in the same apartment from each other, so they know each other. I teach like family members, brothers and sisters. Like I have a lot of related people. That's how my regulars come to me. So
one of those moms must be a good recruiter, because they they get their friends to sign up and everything.
That sounds cool.
I'm the mom of one of the learning partners, and I've got flooded with like 10 families all in the same community. And I was like,
nice.
Wow. This is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I never open slots, that they're just filled with priority booking, which is really nice to get to. And I want to say, like, for the news teachers, you will get there, building that regular following happens. I didn't have my first class till 96 days in. And so I was, thinking this is never going to happen. And then here I am, contract 6, and I have way more students than I have time for. So, it happens.
It's been interesting to watch the schedules change. Like all of a sudden, Monday through Saturday are my regulars, and all of a sudden I don't know my Sunday kids. 6 classes of kids I don't know. It's never happened before until the past few weeks. I'm like, wow, this is.
I think a lot of kids are getting ready to go to school. Like maybe they're not. Some are starting. Some are starting. I had one kid today that said he did go to school, and then others are getting ready to go to school.
Right.
So it's got to be a big change.
Yeah. My regulars are still coming, but then the Sunday one is just all supplemental classes or trials. So I'm thankful for it. I'm not complaining at all. Wow. Anything else we can think of strictly for pacing? Check out the time management workshops. We talked about extensions and things to do if we need to add time at the end.
One thing, just keep in mind that pacing is important. And there are those times I've heard some teachers say that they maybe stopped to work on a concept and didn't get through all the slides, but that would have to be very rare and someone that you're sure isn't going to complain.
Right.
But for the most part, you need to make sure you get done the slides, and you have to go to 25. Don't stop before 25 minutes Except for the Starlight trials, they say they can be 20 to
They
25.
can be 20, yeah.
Right.
Maybe
Or
they're
22
cutting them
minutes
off.
and like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to watch that video. Mary?
the other thing is realizing that the pacing on the gosh, I'm spacing the name. The unit assessments is really different. You'll see
yeah.
so many slides, and you're thinking,
Yes,
"Oh
that's
my
a good
goodness, how
point.
am I possibly going
Yeah.
to get through that number of slides?" But once you realize there are so many filler slides in a unit assessment, you will realize how quickly it can go. And often those are the ones that I do need to extend more on. So take a look at those unit assessments and see which are just filler slides, and you can actually use those slides for extension. There will be the opportunity to practice counting in the lower ones for each step, the colors, just different things you can pull out of those filler slides to extend if you need, or jump over if you don't have time.
I think Kelly warned me one time that level 6 is a little different, right?
Yes.
Sometimes that one you need to
Yeah.
pull along. Is that
Yeah, the assessments on level 6, unlike all the other levels, don't go fast. You need all the time. So don't try to extend from the beginning like you do on most assessments. So just level 6, yeah.
And then what level is it that there's a lot of slides at the beginning and then the assessment doesn't start until you're like halfway through the slides?
Yeah,
Level
we're all
2.
like 2.
Yeah. That's tricky. You got to be careful. You know, you're doing an assessment for those.
And there's some supplementals that you don't know is an assessment because it doesn't say it even in the materials.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you go to do your feedback and you're like, huh. So I've learned to check every time I check supplementals. Kelly?
Level 5 is a level that has so much conversation. Sometimes there's just 15 or 18 slides.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of asking open-ended questions and really drawing that conversation out of the student, because it's really quite different than the level 4 or even the level 6 that follows it. It has, I love level 5 just for that opportunity to extend.
Yeah. Kelly?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I wanted to say something about what Cindy said, but also since Mary just said something, yes. One way that sometimes you'll get a kid that isn't good at conversation. So you'll have to ask more questions. So I have a new level 4 who like reads great, but then he's horrible with the comprehension questions. So then I just like the question will be like, how do you celebrate Chinese New Year? So I'll ask, do you eat food with your family? Do you get money? And then the next time it comes up in the slide, all I have to do is hold up the prop and he'll be able to answer. So that's one way okay, so off of what Cindy said, one thing that I want newbies to know is that a lot of the stuff in VIPKid is repeated a lot. So she said someone spent extra time on a concept. Like, don't feel like you have to do it. Literally, they'll see it again in the next lesson. They might see it again in the next unit. You don't feel like in your 25 minutes, they have to get that concept. It's more important to go through the slides. So,
I did mention that's a hard thing for me. Mastery is, I know I need to let it go more, and I've learned to start, but even in kindergarten, like they're like, you got to let it go. It spirals. But my first year was really hard to like, if they didn't get it, I didn't want to leave them behind. Melissa?
I just wanted to say one more thing about pacing. And just encourage teachers to use the reward to help you with pacing. So if you have a student that is struggling, introduce your reward, and maybe, if they're picking something or they're building something, let them build the first 2 and then say, when we finish the lesson, we will finish building whatever it is. And so then you're going to go through the material, and the parents, I promise, care way more about you getting through the content on the slides than they do you finish building a bunny or a Lego tower or whatever with the student. And so with struggling students, I'll do that. And then I mentioned a little bit like students who really want something, they need to be motivated to do any work during the lesson, do something quick after every slide. And so I do have that tic-tac-toe, and I'll let them draw it, and we'll flip back and forth, and we'll play one time. But one other thing that I like to use are playing cards, just plain red and blue playing cards that I'll hold up, and I'll ask the student, to pick red or blue, and we'll flip them over, and the highest number wins. And, then we're going to move on to the next slide. And then it's like pick red or blue. And then we'll add up, how many times they won at the end of the lesson.
Yeah.
But you can use the rewards to help with the pacing. Also, those ones who are going really quickly. Well, then you can stop after 5 slides and take a minute or two to let them build that Elsa scene or pick a number or whatever. But just think about, again, all of this really is about adapting to your student, but that's a great way to control the pacing in your classroom, is with your reward.
Yeah. I still mostly use my find a star, the pick a number ones, but I've changed a lot of them all to the bigger numbers. So now most of them are all 9 through 20 so that I can hear the teens and them picking. Yeah. So I stayed up late trying to get all those numbers ready for them. But I'm sorry I laughed while you were talking. Mindy said, some of those assessment rewards are just dumb. Yeah, you get a stick to make a bird nest. And I did the bricks the other day. I'm like, you get bricks? Sorry, that made me laugh. Oh.
It's so true though. I've done it too. Like, and with my mini cam, I will like pick bricks, and then by the end of the assessment, I'm like, oh look, you get another brick, and I like, try to make it funny, but it is hard sometimes. So don't feel like you're stuck with that. Like, you don't have to give them sticks or bricks or whatever.
I forgot I was muted. Sorry.
That's okay.
She said they can earn gems by completing coursework. Candy, we need you to come on here for level 7 and 8. You and Cindy and Kelly. Who else teaches those higher levels?
Oh, I
never have.
Those at TOEFL.
So we're gonna have to collab on one of those. I can't get Candy to do an interview. Maybe she'll come on a collaboration so she's not by herself. But she does a lot of the upper levels. But she said she is she's a high school teacher, so she thinks, a lot of times she gets picked from the LPs for the higher levels. Let's see. Also, it is a flipped classroom. Oh, my daughter did flipped classroom, flipped math. I was wondering about the flipped concept, Candy. Okay, she explains it. So super cool. Wow. Anybody else have anything before we sign off for pacing? I think we've covered quite a bit. Yeah, Amanda.
Okay, so the last thing is match the slide number to the minutes in the classroom. That's where you begin. Once you've got that, just go on. You can do it. That's how it really helps me even to this day. Yeah. I'm looking at my slide number. I'm on slide 18. If it's like minute 18, or if I'm on slide 10 and it's minute 18, whoa, like go. So it just, that one trick really just lasts and really helps. Yeah. So that's the big one. Just match the number to the minute. You've got it. You can do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I did.
That's what they'll tell you.
What's that?
VIPKid workshop. They'll tell you match the minute to the slide number and give a star every 5 minutes. I think those are the 2 takeaways they really want the teachers to go away with from the timing workshop.
That's how I got it. Yeah, when I went to that workshop. Yeah, Mary.
One of the things for some of my readers who get really distracted and, they'll read and then they get distracted, I teach them a visualization where I have them close their eyes, pretend they're an eagle. They open their eyes and now they've got eagle eyes and they focus and they love their eagle eyes and they show me how they can stay focused and read the text. So drawing in whatever kind of imagery that they can embody, because they're kids and they love pretend play. So draw that ability to fantasize into the classroom and they become a character that can do it.
That's fun.
Or
I want
you to read like a cheetah, or if they're reading too fast, come and be a sloth and read like a sloth. Go slower. So those things can help as well.
Cute. Great job, everybody. Wow. Let's see. Oh, they said, Jason, I bet you have a lot of boy students. He said probably about 95%. So Jason, we actually have a panel of men tomorrow. And I'm super excited to hear what they have to say. It's going to kind of look like we are now, except there's 7 of us. So it might be a little bit different. There's 6 guys and me tomorrow. discussing all things VIP Kid and the men's perspective. So Jason, there's one in June coming up too. So if you want to be a part of it, let me know, because I like hearing about if it's different, I mean, I don't really want it to be a boy versus girl, but I do want to know if there are some difference. Like he said, he's booked 95% boys or something,
I think the perspective is different too, because a lot of times they don't have the juggling act of family, it's more of like an income, steady income for them.
Right. And it will be different for all of them too. I mean, like Micah's home with his daughter right now too. So I'd like to hear, is it the same before COVID or after? So yeah, it should be interesting. We have a list of questions from pretty much everybody on this panel is the ones I've asked questions from already, but everyone is welcome to come to the live chat tomorrow too, and ask questions there. So cool. Oh, hey, Gwen. Sorry. She said she just saw us. We just finished talking about pacing. It was amazing, and I learned a lot from all of you guys. So thank you. Thanks for coming out.
See you
and
later.
I will link everybody's YouTube below. I think I've missed that on the last few, and I need to catch up. So everybody's channels will be below. That's all I have for you. Thanks, guys.